You won't believe what just happened at Buckingham Palace. A tourist screamed at a royal guard, tried to grab his rifle, and what the guard did next? It stunned everyone. One punch. That's all it took. Cameras were rolling. Tourists were frozen. And the man? He hit the ground before he knew what hit him. Let me walk you through it, moment by moment. It was a typical summer afternoon outside Buckingham Palace. The sun lit up the golden gates, and the crowd buzzed with excitement. Families posed for photos, kids waved little flags, and phones were up, ready to capture anything out of the ordinary. Among the crowd, 2 guards stood motionless, dressed in those unmistakable red uniforms and tall bearskin hats. They looked almost like statues, but everyone knew. These men weren't just ceremonial figures. They were highly trained soldiers, part of the Queen's Guard, known for their discipline, silence, and absolute focus. Now, if you've ever visited the palace, you know the unspoken rules. You can watch, take pictures, even try to make the guards laugh, though good luck with that. But what you don't do is touch them. And you definitely don't touch their weapons. But that's exactly what this one guy didn't understand, or didn't care about. He stood out right away. Tall, mid-30s maybe, tan skin, wearing a navy blue hoodie and a white baseball cap. Sunglasses on, loud voice. He wasn't just there to watch. He was looking for attention. He kept walking too close to the rope barrier, yelling things like, "Hey, does this guy ever blink?" And "Oi, come on, crack a smile." At first, people around him kind of chuckled awkwardly. It seemed like he was just being annoying, not dangerous. But then, his voice got louder, harsher. He started cursing, throwing insults at the guard, calling him a robot, a mannequin, a joke. Some tourists began stepping away. A mother pulled her child back down, kicked by the arm, and then he stepped forward. He crossed the line. Literally. He moved right up to the guard and reached out his hand. At first, people thought he was just going to poke at the uniform. But then, he reached for the rifle. That's when everything changed. In less than a second, the guard snapped to life. No warning, no words, just movement. One swift, powerful motion. His black-gloved fist shot out like a piston, and boom, right to the jaw. The punch was clean, controlled but devastating. The tourist's sunglasses flew off, his head twisted sharply to the side, his cap launched into the air like a frisbee, and then he dropped. Like a sack of bricks, one leg folded under him as he collapsed backward. The entire crowd gasped in unison. It was like time slowed down. A woman covered her mouth. Someone dropped their phone. Another person actually caught it on camera, hands shaking. But the guard, he didn't flinch. After the punch, he returned to position, rifle back in place, eyes forward, like nothing happened. The tourist just lay there, not unconscious, but stunned, completely shocked. He tried to sit up, holding his jaw, eyes wide with disbelief. His ego probably hurt more than his face. And the crowd? They didn't run. They didn't panic. They just stood there, watching silently. Then security showed up. Fast. 2 officers came through the crowd and helped the man to his feet. They didn't yell, they didn't argue, they just walked him away. No handcuffs, no struggle, just quiet removal. Some people started clapping. Not loud, not cheering, just a slow, scattered applause. Others shook their heads, whispering things like, "He asked for it," and "What did he expect?" The moments after the punch were almost stranger than the punch itself. No one really knew what to say. There was no announcement, no explanation, just a sense that something serious had happened, and everyone had just witnessed it firsthand. You could see it on people's faces. A teenager with her phone still recording whispered, "Did that just happen?" A father, holding his son's hand, said quietly, "That's why you don't mess around here." Tourists were stunned, not just by the punch, but by how quickly the guard reacted and then went completely still again, as if nothing had happened. It was like watching a machine come to life, strike, and return to sleep. But here's the thing. Nobody blamed the guard. In fact, most of the crowd supported him. In their eyes, the tourist had pushed every limit, crossed every line, and finally touched a weapon. That's not a joke. That's not harmless fun. That's a security threat. The reactions online were just as intense. The clip went viral within hours. Some people said, "He deserved it." Others said, "Rules are rules." A few criticized the guard, asking if it was too far, but the majority seemed to understand. These guards aren't actors. They're real soldiers with real responsibilities, and they follow real protocol. You don't touch a guard's weapon. You don't invade their space. And you definitely don't test their training. In fact, some former guards even commented on the video. One wrote, "We're trained to react with force if we or our weapon are threatened. That punch? That was control." Another said, "That guy's lucky it was only a punch." This whole moment, this flash of action in front of the palace, reminded everyone watching that tradition doesn't mean weakness. The royal guards might be silent, but that silence holds power. It holds years of discipline, hours of standing still, months of training to remain calm, focused, and ready for anything. And sometimes, the cost of disrespect is learning the hard way. It's easy to think a uniform makes someone less human, that because they're not responding, they're not feeling. But behind that red coat and that towering bearskin hat is a real person, a soldier who's trained not just to stand still, but to protect. Someone who has sworn to guard a symbol of history, culture, and leadership. And if someone threatens that, even if it's just a loud tourist with a bad attitude, they're prepared to act. The punch wasn't just about defense, it was a reminder of boundaries, of respect, of knowing when to watch and when to back off. It's something we all need to remember, especially in a world where cameras are always rolling and lines are so easily crossed. Respect isn't about silence, it's about presence. And that guard's presence in that moment said everything. If this story caught you off guard, pun intended, make sure you hit that subscribe button. We've got more real encounters, more shocking moments, and more untold stories from behind the palace gates and beyond. Drop a comment below. Do you think the guard was right to react the way he did? Would you have done the same? We read every single comment. And hey, share this with someone who always says, "I'd mess with the guard." Let's see if they'd still say it after watching this.